Hello and welcome to Murphy's Garden, and in today's video this is all about just spring jobs, really. Jobs that need to be done, catch up jobs that we're trying to push on before the growing season really gets going, and we can't, when the weather heats up you can't move plants and do too much, so we're just pushing to get all these jobs done before summer gets here, so it's a race against time. So yesterday was Good Friday, so we've got this lovely long bank holiday, 4 days off, so we can really crack on with lots of things. We've got the shed completed, so I'm delighted to have this area. Now I can do editing as we're working in the garden, just come in here and just edit as we go. So I think that's going to make videos a lot more easier from an editing point of view. And as I said, all the stuff that was in the shed was in the greenhouse, so couldn't really get too much done in the greenhouse until this area was back together again. So the greenhouse is now cleared and emptied. I had made a bit of a start on some seed sowing, had them coming on in the kitchen and in the utility room, getting things to germinate, but now I've got my space in the greenhouse back. It's brilliant, so I'll take you in there just to show you what's going on in there, and as we go around the garden I'll just update you on other projects that are coming up. So let's head to the greenhouse. So we're now in the greenhouse, and the greenhouse, as well as doing all the work that Al did for me in the shed, he's also been busy putting electrics into the greenhouse. I've wanted electrics in here for a long time because what tends to happen, I start seeds off in the shed and they all grow towards the light at the window, so you don't get that nice even growth. So he's put in electrics, which you can see at the back. He's taken a spur off the shed using armoured cabling. All has to be done safely and everything. And then he's put an RCD breaker in for safety, so that if it did get wet or anything, it would cut off. So it's all done very safely. We've got the setup I've got here. I've got these little propagators. We did actually make these propagators, and perhaps I can persuade Alistair to do a little video sometime on how to do them in the future, because they're really, really good. They get lovely and warm, and everything germinates in a matter of days. It's incredible. And then the other thing I've just bought is this little heat mat, which just plugs in too, and that just gets nice and toasty as well. And that's on a thermostat, so it's got a little thermometer that sticks into the soil, and then it just cuts in and out. So in the daytime, obviously, as the temperature gets warmer in here, it cuts out, and then it will come on again at night. So here we've got, this is Lageris ovatus, just some grass, so that's germinated quickly. The soil feels just lovely to the touch, and as I say, everything is growing at such a rate. It's just brilliant. So although I perhaps was a little bit later starting this year, everything's caught up. We've got all our squashes and cucumbers and things like that. They're already getting quite big. The tomatoes have germinated. So I'll just show you around the benches so you can see what we've got. So here's my little bench where I've got the soil, which I can just fill up my pots from there. And then these are the plants that they've germinated and they're doing really well. As I say, cucumber, courgettes, squashes, all of those things. They are the tomato tigerella. That's the Lageris, which I said about. Then under here, these are ones that I just sowed yesterday. So this is Cosmos, Purity, and a mixed pink ones in there as well. Various different things, all waiting to germinate. There's zinnias. Can't remember what that is. Can't remember. And then Livy's been doing some cuttings of Nepeta, which I'll tell you about as we go around the garden. These are things that are just waiting to germinate. Then over this side are the things that have been pricked out. That's Amaranthus, which Olivia did yesterday for me. And here we've got Antirrhinums. These were the ones that we collected the seed from. They're called apple blossom, so it's always good to collect your own seed. It does save a little bit of money, and then you can, each year, if you want to invest in other things, then you can introduce other colours and things. You're not having the cost every year. You can just build on the selection that you grow. So lots of heliochrysums. You know I love my dried flowers. So I'm growing limonium, which I've never grown before, and that's germinated in about 2 days. It's incredibly quick. So I'm going to do lots of different colours of that. Looking forward to seeing that. There's apricot colours, there's silvery colours, all sorts of things. So that's really exciting. We've got some lettuce coming through. this is the Nepeta that Olivia's done. So she's done quite a lot for me. And as I say, I'll show you what it is I want to do with that. Here are all the packets of seeds. I have in the past used a lot of Sarah Raven seeds, and this year I'm trying out the children's seeds, and I must say the germination rate has been brilliant on them, really, really good. And then in this tub, this chocolate box, we've just got the seeds that we've collected ourselves. So we've got Nicotiana, Heliochrysums, marigolds, all sorts of things in there. So as I say, keep building on your stock. Then underneath here, we've got, these are geraniums that I overwintered. So we've got ones, these were just cuttings. So they're doing quite well. They've got some nice roots on them. And then these ones, which don't look brilliant, these are ones I did an experiment to see where you put them, shake all the soil off them and just put them dry in a cardboard box somewhere frost free, which I put in the garage this year. I did try it the previous year and put it in the attic, and I think it did get cold in there, so they didn't survive. But there is some green shoots on them. So I've cut them back. You can just see a little shoot there, and we'll just see whether they do come back again or not. Then in these pots are just some dahlias that we had dug up from the garden, so they've gone in there. Got some onions that I've got to get in. I haven't put these in yet. Oh, there's shallots, so I need to get those in. I've got some already in the ground, so we'll go and have a look around the rest of the garden. Now here, this is a lovely thing we've got. We've got this planter. This is an animal trough which we were given by Mike, our friend the blacksmith. He said we could have it, which I was so grateful to him for, because I just love it. I'm going to give that a wash, get all the green off it. We'll pressure wash that and maybe do it with some of the tea cut solution as well, like we did for the bottomless pots, just to make it look a bit nicer. But this is a really good planting space. I'm going to use it for salad crops, lots of salad crops, which would be really handy next to the greenhouse. We can grow carrots and we can grow all sorts of things in there. It's quite a large area, so that's brilliant. It's quite untidy here. I've got to tidy all this up. Now here, lots of plants that have just sort of overwintered and are potted up. These are the hydrangea Annabelle, strong Annabelle, obligatory pot of weeds. But this is the Annabelle, strong Annabelle. It's doing really, really well. And we did grow these for the pleached Hornbeam Walk. That's the good news, they're doing well. The bad news is that we've had a rethink on that. We were actually listening to Gardener's Question Time recently, and they were talking about hydrangea when it's in too much shade, how it will get very tall and quite leggy and could be problematic. The area that we're going to do, we'll just go over there now. And as we head around there, we'll just go through the parterre, and I'll just show you what I've done here. So this is the rose parterre. We've got the lovely box surrounding it, doing very well. And I've put strolch, renewed the strolch. We put strolch down 2 summers ago and it's lasted really well. I'm really pleased with it. I find it really good, and I have read that it's very good to put around box because it stops the rain splashing up onto the box, preventing box blight. And this particular part of the garden is very, very healthy. There is one little patch that's struggling a little bit there, and I did cut it out, but it has got lots of new regrowth on that. And I will be doing a video about box and using top boxes as a treatment to keep box looking healthy. So we'll come on to that in a later video. And as we pass through here, this is the osmanthus in the bottomless pots. So that's the look that we want to get on that plant trough that we've got around there. We'll treat that in the same way. So this was, I've just left a little bit to show you. So this is the osmanthus buckwoodii in the pot, and then underneath we've got the erigeron. Now the erigeron overwinters quite well. What I do is just leave all the foliage on to protect it over the winter, but now in end of March is a good time to cut it back. So I'm just in the process of cutting it right back, and it starts to look really nice again. And then the other thing that we do as well is just looking through the branches, just looking for any crossing branches, like that one's going into the plant. We want nice outward growth. I'll probably remove that one, some of the little branches that are growing in, and just stand back and just look at the shape. And down the gravel path, you can see we've got Nepeta on both sides of the path. This side is doing quite well. There's quite a lot of it. and it's all coming back, reshooting. But on this side, it's just not doing nearly so well. Some of them have died actually. That one's sort of alive, but a lot of them here have just kind of rotted off and they've got no sign of regrowth. So it might be a bit of a problem because it's got the U hedge and the box hedging. There's not perhaps a lot of soil and stuff there, I don't know. But what we need to do is just take more cuttings. So that's what Olivia has been doing, the Nepeta cuttings that she did in the greenhouse. That's what they're for. They're just to renew the Nepeta all down this path so we can get that nice display that we have got used to over the summer months. And Al's really busy in the garden, so he's cut the Olivia rose, given it quite a hard prune, but it's quite a vigorous rose, so it will come back stronger for it. So that's a lovely job, and we'll add some rose food at this time of year as well. And then just quite exciting to show you this project. So I said, I think in previous videos, that we wanted to take out all the planting underneath the Hornbeam Walk. It was too mixed, we had lots going on, it was a bit too chaotic. And we want to simplify this planting in this part of the garden because I think it looks much better like that. Like we find this walk up here, we've just got Nepeta flanking either side of the path on the box, and simplicity works really well, and we want to do something similar here. There's a lot of colour and a lot of planting things going on in the borders, and I think having it here as well just looks too much. So we're going to simplify that. The initial plan was to put in the strong Annabelle hydrangea, but the problem with our soil, as I've said lots of times, it's very, very free draining, very, very sandy. And I had thought about putting hydrangeas in and putting irrigation system in to keep it watered and stuff, but really, in reality, I think that's probably not very realistic. They will struggle here. This side on the right, it particularly is in deep shade, when the hornbeam are all in leaf. And so it's far better to choose a plant that will like the space and not have to fight against it. So we're going for skimmias. So we've ordered some skimmias from the nursery and we're going to get on and pick those up. So Al's just in the process of, I say just, it's a lot of work, clearing all these borders. Some things we'll keep, some things we'll get rid of. There's some nice things in there and some not so nice things. So he's working his way through that. If I head down to the Sunken Garden, I'll just show you, we've got skimmias in the garden and they do really well. They love our soil, they like shade, they like our free draining soil. They do well here under this tree where they are in full shade, and they always do very well. So it's just a green backdrop. It's lovely at this time of year because it's got the flowers on it and the bees love it at this time of year. So I think it will be a good addition. I think the one that Al's ordered is Q, which is a kind of green flowered one, which will look lovely. So that's the plan. We know they work in our garden. So I think it's important not to be realistic. So these borders, I haven't done anything with them because after getting the feedback from Rosy on what to do, I was quite keen to get out here and literally rip everything out. And you can see these are all the Camassias. You can see what I mean about them just going mental in the border. So I do need to get in here and do something with this border. However, I was all set for, after getting Rosy's feedback, and I came up with a plan. I sat down one wet weekend and drew out an entire plan of what I was going to do, how I was going to plant out this whole border. So I think the problem with ripping everything out and starting from scratch is that it's going to be incredibly expensive. We're going to need lots and lots of plants. And after doing the plan, drawing it all out, and bearing in mind I've got to plant in large sways with 5 or 7 plants, it's going to end up costing, I reckon, at least £1,000 per border, and don't forget I've got 2 borders. So that goes against the whole ethos of the channel, that and the fact I can't afford that. So we've got to find a better way of doing it, a cheaper way of doing it. So I think we can't rush this job. I think I've got this impatience just to get on and do things, but like anything, you've got to stop, step back from the whole thing and come up with a plan, a better plan. So I think we need to begin this area by doing the structure, focusing on the structure. So we've got the rill, we've got a lot of work to do here. As I said before, that this job was brought forward a bit because we had all these spoils and we thought we may as well use them on the tree area. So that was why we pushed this job. We weren't really ready to do this yet, but the rill is a job that can be done when we can't be doing planting and things like that. So it could be done in the middle of summer when it's dry or hot. That is a job that we could get to. This regarding the planting, I think we're going to have to do a more step-by-step approach. I do want to remove the box hedging, as Rosy suggested. I've got so much box that it's just a bit of quite time consuming. I've done all the treatment on the rest of the box in the garden. It takes quite a long time, and of course it's quite expensive doing the top boxes treatment. So getting rid of this, I don't think, like Rosy said, it doesn't really add anything to it. It was put in because this area was once a field and I was starting with a blank canvas. So it was a bit like drawing a line round a border and just making me sort of work out what the space was going to be, but it's no longer needed. In fact, if anything, it encroaches on the planting, so that can go, and I would like to get on and rip that out. I don't know how hard it will be to get out, but the edging that Alistair put in, it hasn't stayed in place very well, so he wants to revisit that anyway, so that will be far easier to do with the box gone. So that can come out, that can be one of the jobs that we can do. We could also put in the service path that Rosy suggested at the back, so taking out half a metre of planting from the back of the hedge, in front of the hedge, so that there's a walkway that we can squeeze down for weeding and maintenance purposes. Ironically, when we did put this border in originally, we left a strip of grass for that very purpose. But because it was grass, it was difficult to do the edging, it was difficult to maintain. So I think just a bark chipped path running at the back of the border would be a really good idea. So that can be done. And then the other thing that she suggested was the steeper, or the stipe as I should call it, could be split, needs to be split because it's getting quite big, and put an extra one at the back. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that could be done as well. Regarding the rest of the planting, we're going to need big, large drifts of things like the Echinacea magnus. Well, I find out that you can grow that from seed. The children's seeds do that. So I could get the seed and then I can plant and grow in clumps of 7, because to buy individual perennials is going to cost a lot of money. A perennial, I think, is around about, I don't know, £7, something like that. So if you need 7 of them, and times 2 is going to cost a lot of money. So if we can cut costs, that's good for our pocket, and also it shows that's the way of gardening, isn't it? Proper gardening. It's not about just ripping everything out and anyone can do that. It's evolving the space and doing it well. And we have got somewhere amongst all of this, we have got some nice plants like the heleniums and monarda and things like that. And at this time of year, it's hard to remember where anything is anymore. So I think we'll let it all grow up. And the other thing is, if I were to take it all out, we'd just have a blank space with no planting, and it would be susceptible to weeds, and there'd be nowhere for the pollinators to go over this period. So let's just keep it for now, make a few changes. I am going to get in there and do some weeding and a little bit of thinning out of some of these Camassias. But then perhaps we need to lift plants, put them into pots, set them aside, and then go through taking out all the Camassia bulbs meticulously and do it really well. So I think that's the plan. I hope you're not disappointed with that, because I know a lot of you, I think, were quite keen to see what we were going to do in this area, but like everything, it's going to take time. It's going to be a slow process, but we will get to that lovely plan that Rosy, kind of the suggestions that she suggested, we will get there eventually. And the other thing is, I would like to go to visit Rosy at her nursery and perhaps go and choose some plants from her nursery, and I suspect we might meet her. We're going to go to Chelsea, so we'll definitely be on the lookout to see if Rosy's there. I'd love to meet her. So we'll buy some plants, we'll propagate them, we'll do it all that way, the slower way, but we'll get there without spending a huge amount on budget. And I just want to give you a little sneak peek of the new tree area. I need to come up with the proper name. The winter garden, I think we were going to call it, were we? Or the arboretum, I don't know, we have to come up with a name. But this area is coming on really, really well. We've been busy putting in the manure. We got 2 trailer loads of manure. It was a horrible weekend. It was wet and cold, can't really believe that we did it, but we moved 2 trailer loads in one weekend, which was quite exhausting, but it's gone in. It's been brilliant. The weather has taken it down. It's breaking it up. It's already improving the soil quite dramatically. We haven't put it up to the individual trees because it would be a bit too rich for that, but we've just put it around the area, and it's also quite good because it's suppressing the weeds. But what we do need to do now quite urgently is go and get big trailer loads of bark chippings and bark chip the whole area. We want a nice deep thick layer of mulch just to stop the weeds coming through, because the weeds will come through quite quickly as soon as the weather warms up, and it already is coming through on the path. And speaking of the path, we weren't sure what to do. The plan initially had been to put in breeden, which is that kind of crushed stone that we were going to put in and make a path like that, but couldn't think how it would work. It's like a puzzle trying to work out how everything would fit together. It wouldn't work because we've got a path of grass coming around here, this curve, and it couldn't transition into something completely different without it looking odd. And also I think it's a good idea not to have too many different fabrics materials in a garden, because it becomes disjointed. So we've decided for ease of putting it down, and also ease for maintaining it and everything, probably grass is probably easier, because we also bring barrow loads of compost and stuff across here, and if we're spilling things onto this, if it was a breeding crushed fabric material, it would create a mess. So I think grass is quite forgiving for things like that. So we're going to get some turf. We want to get on and do that quite soon, because this is the time to do it. It's the end of March, April, perfect time to lay turf. So I will be doing a bit of levelling work here. We have vaguely marked out the curve that we want on the path here, and the circle will go round there and spur off to the utilitarian area at the back there, and then another little path going off to the back. Longer term, we might put a little seating area underneath the Heptacodium mycinoides. It'd be quite nice to have a little seat there, but that's in the longer term. We're looking to get perhaps some edging, so we're looking into different options for that. But all in all, it's looking good. We've populated the area it's pretty full now, really, with trees and shrubs and things. We have added, when Alice has been taking out the area underneath the Hornbeam Walk, we've taken out a few other little bits and bobs. We've got a hebe, we've got a little euonymus there that's gone in. Lovely to see everything budded. All the trees are coming into leaf. So I'm really excited to see what that's going to look like, and then we can work on like doing bulbs and things like that in the autumn, and sort of ground cover things. So lots still to do, but I think it's starting to get a nice feel about it. So Al has now completed the clearing of this side of the border. There's lots of bulbs and things that he's pulled out, so I'll get on and plant some of these bulbs. They can just go in other parts of the garden. The rest of this will need to be cleared away, and just a little bit more clearing needs to be done on this side where some bulbs have come through since I cleared this side. So all in all, that's looking good. The other thing that must be done before we plant is to retreat the fence. It's gone very green and not very nice again. So lots and lots of jobs, no shortage of work. We've always got something to do. So if you like what we do, don't forget to like and subscribe, and join us in the next video. And I will just play out the lovely view of the Amilankia canadensis, which is looking absolutely beautiful. So I'll just let you see what that looks like. Thank you very much for watching. Bye for now.